So it turns out that the International Olympic Committee has decided to discontinue wrestling in the Olympic Games for 2020. Now they're still going to have it in 2016, but they plan on discontinuing it in 2020. Now, I first heard about this on Facebook by a lot of people who created a lot of memes on saving Olympic wrestling. And they showed like pictures of well-known collegiate wrestlers, amateur wrestlers, like, you know, Dolph Ziggler. I didn't know he was an amateur wrestler. Was one of them. Of course, Brock Lesnar is another. And then the granddaddy of them all when it comes to professional wrestling and Olympic wrestlers, Kurt Angle, who won the gold medal in the Atlanta Games in '96. And it really shocked me to hear that. I was like, what do you mean save the wrestling Olympics for wrestling? So I went on Google, and it turns out I read a few articles that the committee has decided to discontinue it. One of the reasons I heard was to try to introduce new sports to the Olympic Games. One of their decisions is maybe trying to bring back baseball, softball into Olympic Games, wakeboarding, roller games, like, you know, probably rollerblading, skateboarding, or stuff like that. I think it's called wushu. I think it is. It's like a Chinese martial arts, karate in it, and you know they're trying to bring something new to the table for the Olympics. Oh, even rock climbing. Now, to be perfectly honest, of all the things to decide to discontinue, why wrestling? I mean, in the very first Olympic Games in Greece, and this was back in 700 BC, that was one of the foundations of the sport, of the games, is the wrestling. Of course, you had the runners, the pole vaulting, and all that, but wrestling was one of its main things. It was a form of combat back in the day. Now, my thoughts on this is I think they're maybe doing this because maybe it has to do with the reaction of the last Summer Games. I remember during the last Summer Games, I saw a lot of memes where people were saying, like, who gives a damn about the Olympics? And I guess it wasn't really doing successful ratings-wise, I guess. You know, and I guess they did some research on what sports can they do without if they're not getting the ratings. And I guess maybe, this is just my guess, not concrete, it maybe had to do with the fact that maybe wrestling's not getting any viewers during those times, or the enough viewers that they want. It could be that, I don't know, but so far what I heard is because they want to introduce something new to, yeah, maybe a new sport to the Olympic Games, maybe to try to usher in a younger audience, especially if they're trying to bring in roller sports into like skateboarding and rollerblading. Now, again, my feeling is I think it's a big mistake that they're doing this because, to be honest with you, there are athletes out there, especially with wrestling, that has dedicated their life to the sport. You have little children who actually become amateur style wrestlers. Even this one kid that was had this little mohawk. I forgot what the kid's name, but this kid was like a monster. You know what I mean? I think he was like 5 years old, and he's like a huge pro, and I'm just scared of what happens if he grows up. If I think I might have that video, so I'll probably put it on the link there. If it's not there, then you know. But there's a lot of athletes who dedicate their life to amateur style wrestling, and to be perfectly honest, I think that with amateur style wrestling, the only biggest stage is not really in the NCAA. As many people like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's NCAA championships are very prestigious for, you know, college games and, you know, like the wrestlers and stuff like that, in basketball and baseball and whatever. But I think that for an amateur style wrestler, I think their main goal is not being part of the ACAA, but try to get into the Olympics. because I think that's where they actually get to showcase their skills all across the world. You know, for them, being in the Olympic Games is like being in a Super Bowl or the World Series or the NBA championships. And if you're a professional wrestler, WrestleMania. You know, to them, it's something for them. You know, they're going up against the best in the world. And even the ACAA may go against the best too in the world too. But I mean, this was like the grand stage for them. And now they're being denied that opportunity in 2020. And I know a few amateur style wrestlers who they dedicate their time and effort into being the best. And now they're not going to get a chance to actually showcase what they learned, showcase their skills on the big stage like the Olympic Games. And like I said, they have the NCAA championships and all that stuff, but I just think that it's not as huge as the Olympics. I mean, look at Kurt Angle. I mean, he's been wrestling all his life. He's been a wrestler all his life. From young kid to the high school, being the best in high school, to being the best in college, and then going into the Olympic Games and winning a gold medal with a broken neck. I mean, that's like a big, huge accomplishment for him. You know? But like I said, I just think it just shortchanges those who put their time and effort on the game. I mean, think about this, like people who dedicate their life to football. They play from they're younger. They play till high school, in college, and then their grand stage is being in the NFL and being in the Super Bowl. Same as people who are baseball players, from little league to minor league to the majors. You know, hockey, same thing. Basketball, same thing. But now with the committee doing away with Olympic wrestling, what's there for young kids who want to get into this sport? What can they fight for? Now, I know for some people who might be supporting this might think, well, there's always MMA. But here's the thing. Not everyone's into MMA. You know what I mean? And MMA is not only wrestling. I mean, wrestling is a big part in MMA. So is jiu-jitsu. So is judo. But that particular athlete wants to dedicate that one discipline and showcase it around the world through the Olympics. And sadly, they're not going to get that opportunity in 2020. Now, I'm hearing that they're trying to repeal it. They're trying to make a vote. I think they're trying to make a vote to see if they can reinstate it for 2020. Like I said, they're going to still have it in 2016. But in my opinion, in all honesty, if they were going to eliminate a sport from the Olympics, in my opinion, why not basketball? I know a lot of people might be pissed off when they hear basketball of all things to be eliminated from the Olympics. Hear me out. You have a sport that happens every year. Every year there's always a season of basketball. And every year there's always the big, huge game, the championship games. And that's their stage. They're getting it every year. Just like baseball players get that every year. And for a wrestler, they only get that big stage every 4 years. Every 4 years they only get that stage. You know, and like I said, that's why it shortchanged them. That's why I think with basketball, we watch basketball every year. We watch the championship games every year. I think I think the Olympics can do without basketball. And in my opinion, I think it gives other teams around the world who play basketball a little bit of unfair advantage, because majority of the time when it comes to the USA team, or back in the day they used to be called the Dream Team, you had the top players in the NBA being in this team of the Olympics, and sometimes it gives a little bit disadvantage to other teams. Because I heard like some teams in different countries are probably people in college, like college level, not like a big huge level like NBA. That's how I feel about it, you know. So like I said, I think they can do without basketball, just like I think they can do without baseball. And I understand the whole point that, you know, our country's team gets a chance to face other teams all across the world. And I'm not saying that other countries' teams are inferior to the United States. 'Cause I bet there are teams out there, whether it's baseball, basketball, hockey, are probably 10 times better than the teams we have here in the United States. But like I said, I just think that we can do away with that and just leave wrestling where it is. I mean, it was the foundation. It was one of the foundation sports of the Olympics. Why give that up? You know? And like I said, it's going to shortchange a lot of people's dreams. A lot of people, men and women's dreams of being in the grand stage like that. And I think the Olympics is like the mecca for amateur style wrestlers, just like it's the mecca for gymnasts, it's the mecca for the pole vaulters, the runners, etc. It's their mecca. It's their big stage. So I really don't think they should get rid of it. That's my opinion. But if you guys have a rebuttal to what I'm saying, feel free to comment. You know, I'm willing to discuss and see what happens from there. All right, so that's all I have to say about this topic today. And before I go, I want to give a big quick shout out. This is not really related to the Olympics, but just a shout out to an individual. It's actually a group called Chance Hustle. It's a rap group based in Rhode Island, and I've heard some of their music. They're pretty good. There's one guy, Jimmy Hands, who's part of that group. I think he's called Jimmy Hustle. I don't know. He has like playing different names, but he is part of that group. He is very good, a very good rapper. I know him very well, and I hope you guys get the chance to support him and his group Chance Hustle. So here's his YouTube channel. Boom, right there. Listen to his music. It's awesome. You know, subscribe to him, whatever. You know, and also get that out of the way, check his Facebook, their Facebook, boom, right there. Check them out too, you know, get to know them and all that stuff, and see what happens from there. All right, man, this is Dual Dreamer, rant number 24. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.